What? Oof. Caliente. Caliente. It doesn't have anything here, okay? This is this is only for scenery. Today we're gonna review This Story Might Save Your Life and Destroy Mine. Before I begin this video, I told, okay, I'm gonna go slow in my review. Great beginning. Okay, this is a new debut book. They just came out. It came out Thursday. And it's from Tiffany Crumb. Let's make one thing clear already. I don't have anything against Tiffany. Along this review, it's gonna look like I do, but I swear to God that I don't, okay? I'm gonna begin with the review without spoilers, okay? So the book talks about Joy and Benny. They are two friends, best friends, and they have a podcast that talks about situations like being trapped in the attic and what will you do to survive. And the name of the podcast is This Story Might Save Your Life. One day, Benny goes to Joy's house and she disappears. And then we have to find out what happened. This book was marketed as a thriller with romance, with a rom-com. But the problem is that it doesn't have a com. The romance is barely there. And in the beginning is cute because in chapter 5, I was even getting emotional about the characters. Joy and Benny, so I was like, oh my god, this book is gonna be a 5 stars, but then the rest of the books happen, and we lose it a recipes. Joy and Benny are soulmates, they love each other since the beginning, they are perfect for each other, but along the book goes happening, you kind of realize like, wait, I thought that they love each other, what's happening here? Barely had any moment of thriller. I find the storyline of like part 1 very slow, and the resolution of the mystery was awful. I'm so sorry. I think that's the best I can do without spoilers. This book has a 4.3 rate on Goodreads. Tiffany's fine. She's gonna be fine. This review is not gonna affect her at all. I'm only doing a video because sometimes I feel like I read a book and the book doesn't please me, but like I feel like I'm alone. I try to look for reviews, being like people who don't like it, and I never find anything. For me, it's important to see reviews of people who don't like it because or people is gonna show me a point of view that I didn't realize, or I can say, oh, they're wrong because of this and this, or I don't agree with this and this and this. So this is the thing, and this is what's gonna happen. Thank you so much. Today we're gonna review This Story Might Save Your Life and Destroy Mine. Spoilers ahead. Well, one word for me to describe this book is frustrating. You already know that the book follows two friends, best friends, soulmates, who have a podcast, and the podcast is about how to survive different stuff and stuff like that. Okay, perfect. I automatically fell in love with Joy and Benny relationship. I can't wait to see they end up together. And there's a chapter, I think it's chapter 5, that it has her wedding, and they literally look at each other, and she says, "You want me to do this?" And he says to her, "I only want you to be happy." I get emotional in that. In this moment of the book, I was like, this is 5 stars. Barely I knew what was coming. Along with the things that happens in this book, it doesn't look like they love each other at all. Let's go. So Joyce gets married, she gets pregnant, but she lost it. Benny goes to her house to talk to her because she gets a little depressed. Benny goes to her house trying to talk to her. She doesn't answer the phone. She doesn't go talk with him. Her husband yells with Benny to get out because it's not a good moment, and Benny says, "I want to see her," and stuff like that. She's listening to this conversation and she doesn't get out of the bathroom to talk with Benny. Her husband takes Benny outside. They talk for something or fight. Joy sees in her window that Benny is leaving. His face is like awful. And Benny sees that she saw him, but she didn't move to go talk with him. And they just be without talking with each other for 3 years. 3 years without talking with each other. I can't believe this. These are the people who are soulmates, okay? One of them just loses a baby and is depressed, and you don't go see her for 3 years. Years? The love of your life? Years? She never called him? And then they find each other in the store, and we find out that the husband blocked Benny's number from her phone and never passes any messages from Benny. Benny get married in this time period, and they call her, but since she was not, I don't know, apparently she was not in social media in 3 years, the husband never passes the message. So she loses the wedding of her best friend and soulmate. I'm so sorry. Were you guys without talking with 3 years, and we are supposed to think that you guys love each other? You tell me that you were gonna get married. Probably Joy is gonna be a bridesmaid because she's very important for your life. But when they ask you, you didn't go in person to talk with her? Really? This is, oh my god. And when they need a manager or somebody to like help taking care of business of the podcast, they hire Xander. Benny chooses to hire Xander. The guy who makes their friendship be gone for 3 years, who lied for 3 years, who made her best friend loses the wedding. And Benny being like, oh, yeah, it's a good idea. Xander is gonna help in the podcast. Nobody's acting like a human being. After the podcast gets a little more famous, Joy gets a stalker. It was following her all around, all the time, taking pictures of her every time that she gets out of the house without going to the podcast. You know, when she was like walking around the neighborhood or when she's going to the supermarket, always some guy was taking pictures of her. We never find out who it is. Okay, let's remember that these people are rich and famous, okay? What do you mean we never find out who it is? Honey, you have money. Hire a PI and be like, I want you to find out who it is. What are you talking about? And also, later the police find out that who is it because they find out about the pictures being posted. Are you telling me that you couldn't hire an IT guy to also find out the IP number from the photos? What? And later when in the future, okay, when the police talks about, I'm so sorry, spoiler. Of course it was the husband, okay? Of course it was the husband. Benny be like, wait, you couldn't get the IP before when we talk about the stalker? And the police be like, we never heard about the stalker. What? But Xander told us that he talked with you guys. I don't understand why Benny trusts Xander so much. There were multiple times along the book where Xander is an asshole, is a controlling, he gets on top of them, fights with Benny, fights with Joy, is jealous, is stupid. But either way, Benny trusts him to do everything. I don't get it. This doesn't make any sense. One of the neighbors saw Xander taking pictures of Joy in the supermarket, later posted as a stalker. So he knew that Xander was a stalker. So when the neighbor goes talk with B, and B hates him for multiple reasons, he's a paparazzi, okay? So they thought that he was the stalker. The neighbor talks to him, oh, I have to talk to you, it's important. No, shut up, I don't want to listen, I hate you. No, it's important, you have to listen. It's important. Instead of saying Xander was a stalker, no, he just said, oh, it's important, you have to listen. I hate this. I hate this trope of like, oh, I have to tell you something and you have to stop, wait, and pay attention because I can't continue speaking. You have to pay attention to me. If you not pay attention, I'm not gonna speak. This is a ridiculous trope that I always hate because if it is important, just say it. But he doesn't say it. And in the end of the book, he didn't even say it anytime. We find out this later in the epilogue. And the book talks about abusive relationship. Joy's husband is abusive to her. So I'm not gonna talk about the choices that Joyce made while she's being abused by her husband because I can blame a woman when, you know, her spirit and body is being fraud. Okay, but I'm gonna talk about the personality before, because before we have stuff. And we find out that the husband blocked Benny's number from her phone and never passes any messages from Benny. Joy goes talk with her husband. He cries and she forgave him. 3 years. The husband was lying to her for 3 years. This is not the beginning of the abusive, I mean, it is the beginning of the abusive relationship, but like, she's not frail yet, you know, she's not fragile. She just forgave him. She'd been like, oh, he was also stressed, sad because we both lose the baby, so I have to forgive him. What? 3 years lying to you? Making you lose the wedding of your best friend, and you will be like, oh, okay. One of the neighbors saw Xander taking pictures of Joy in the supermarket, later posted as a stalker. So he knew that Xander was a stalker. He gets a stalker because he wants Joy to like live less of the house. Let's remember that they meet each other at least once a week. I don't know the time, how many times they do the podcast, but they meet each other, let's say at least one a week to make the podcast. It's around 1 hour and a half of doing comedy, doing jokes, talking about crazy stories and how to survive. Okay? While Joy begins to be abused psychologically and even goes to physical, like beating her, grabbing her a little stronger, that she gets bruised, Benny doesn't notice that she's getting more quiet, timid. She begins to wear sweatshirts to cover the bruises. He doesn't care. Doesn't he love her? He doesn't understand. There's a moment in the book where he says, wow, it's really hot. Why you have a sweatshirt? I don't know, have you think about the husband that he lies to you for 3 years and also the guy who is constantly around her, who fights all the time, who controls the podcast? Are we supposed to believe that these people are soulmates? Do you really care? I'm gonna lose my mind in this. The podcast talks about situations where something happens to you and you have to survive. What will you do to survive? So they make jokes, but at the same time we find out what the person in the story did to survive, okay? Dear person who is seeing this video, do you think in any moment that the theme of the podcast will be important to the story? Did you think in any moment that since the name of the book is This Story Might Save Your Life, and also the theme of the podcast is how to get out of situations for you to save your life, that we're gonna use this in any moment of the book? You did? Oh, you're wrong. I'm so sorry. You're wrong, honey. This is not gonna happen. This doesn't happen at all. The theme of the podcast, it doesn't matter. They could have made a podcast about how to make bread, and it would be the same book, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in any moment what the theme of the podcast and how to survive. Joy doesn't do anything to learn how to survive. She depends on other people to survive. So, like, I don't understand what's the point of the podcast. Why the podcast is here? They could have done anything. They will move the story along. The reason of the podcast was useless. When they need other person for the podcast, Xander says, oh, my sister is available. Benny and Joy accept this? Of course they do. Of course they do. They gonna accept everything that Xander says. They're children, okay? Benny is a child, I think. Honestly, there was a moment in the book where I had to think, wait, they are underage because they are acting like teenagers. And then I realized that they know each other for 13 years. And I want to die. Here, he's there. My cat's fighting in the back. This is amazing. Me with the book. Joy has narcolepsy, which means that she has to sleep all the time. If not, she's gonna be fainting. The book says that she's gonna sleep, but like in the way that it happens in the book, is always fainting. Like she's having a normal conversation and she falls. So this is constant, okay? Talks about awful, he's awful. There's a lot of things happening with her he doesn't realize. Since she's narcoleptic, every time that she gets stressed, she practically faints. All the time that she's suffering abuse, she's not fainting in the podcast. It's 2 hours of having to make jokes, and Benny doesn't realize one difference. This is so badly written. I hate it. This book. Yum, yum, yum. Joy is in the shelter of abused woman. She gets beat up by Xander, right? So she's very hurt. And since she's stressed, she gets fainted all the time. It's not sleeping, okay? It's fainted. I think that the author wanted to have reason for her to faint so much. Because there were multiple moments where she's been like, okay, tell the police that I'm fine. And the police doesn't show up to talk with her, and she just believes. Oh, okay, I saw that Benny was arrested. I have to call him. But I'm so stressed that I'm sleeping. I fell asleep. Ooh, what? I can't, guys. I'm not even certain if I'm making sense, because it's a lot, okay? She's pregnant again. She loses the baby. When she's going to the hospital, they found her. Also, by the way, this is not my opinion. This is all stuff that happens in the book. Now, if you think that this stuff makes sense or not, this is with you guys. For me, it's stupid. Oh, and she gets pregnant again because Xander exchanged her birth control pills because he takes care of her pills. So that's it. In the end, they get with each other and we find out what happened. Practically, it's a little confusing because it's barely written. I'm so sorry again about the author, but like, Xander beats her. She fell to the ground. He goes hug her. He's hugging her, okay? So she's here, they're hugging, and he gets distracted because there's other person around. And she kicks him. How she kicks him? What? How she kicks him? But okay, don't wanna dwell in this, but in the end of the day, he died because he beat his head and he ended up dying. The neighbors help hiding because the guy was a stunt double and he knows how to beat a car. That's it. It's ridiculous. I'm so sorry, guys. This book was very bad. It was very bad. Benny's ex-wife is a lawyer of divorce, and we find out that Joy was gonna divorce Xander. But she couldn't before because she needed money. She's rich and famous, but she needed money because I think he was taking care of finances. She's rich and famous, okay? You understand this part? Because there's a moment in the book where she says, oh, but he could have blocked me from my account. Honey, you're rich and famous. It will last a day. You could hire a lawyer. Benny could hire a lawyer. This is so stupid. There were multiple times in this book where apparently we forgot that they are rich. There's a moment where Benny is arrested, where he needs a lawyer. The book acts like he doesn't know a lawyer, even though he probably already signed multiple deals, multiple sponsors. He has a corporate lawyer. What do you mean he doesn't have a lawyer for any criminal offense? What are you talking about? He's famous and rich. The ex-wife says, oh, I know a lawyer that he wants to get the case because it's popular, the case right now, and he's a fan. You should have a lawyer already because you're rich. We are forgetting this in this plot. You're rich. You're not supposed to be acting like, oh, if I divorce him, I'm not gonna have money. Oh, if I divorce him, he's gonna go after me and there's nothing I can do. You're rich and famous. You can hire security, you can hire a lawyer to get him a restraining order. You can hire somebody to be on top of him that if in any moment he goes next to you, you are Warner. This book forget that they are famous and rich, which means that they have power. They have power, but they are acting like children. This is so weird. With the lack of lawyer, there were multiple times where Benny was being investigated by the police, and the police will literally said, "You're not arrested yet because we think that it was you." And he doesn't call for a lawyer in any moment. In any moment, he only calls for a lawyer after he's arrested. Again, I thought that he was a child. I thought that he was a teenager because it's not possible that an adult doesn't have any common sense. Oh my god. I really like this. So sorry for the author, congrats for the book. Also, the grade is 4.3, so this is amazing. But this was not for me, I hate it a lot. The romance was awful, I didn't care about them, the thriller was missing, the podcast useless, and the mystery is lazy. I begin this review putting a rating of 1.5, but I can't. I end up putting 0.5. I don't have a problem giving negative review and losing the chance of receiving acts, etc. I don't care, this is my opinion. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I agree with this. Did you guys feel also like some reviewers, they talk so blandly about the book, like, oh, this book was great, the suspense was great, and it was so fast-paced that I love it. And they don't give any nugget of like, okay, but why you love it? Why you like it? 201, I don't think that they read the book, or I think that they only complimenting because they want to compliment to, I don't know, receive arcs, or I don't know. I understand that if you see my grades about like my month, you see that I'm not the type of person that I always give 5 stars. I think my average in Goodreads is like 3.5, something like that. Because if I hate a book, I'm gonna DNF. I'm gonna put 1 star. I'm gonna put 0 star. The only thing that I do, of course, that now that I have this page, if I'm gonna give a negative review, I'm not gonna tag the author. In case she sees this, Tiffany, again, don't have any problem with you. Personally, of course, I think that when we make books, we are putting ourselves together out there. And I think that's very brave. I want to write a book someday, but like, I don't have this talent right now. And I understand that it's gonna exist negative reviews, okay? I have to stop talking. I can't. I'm gonna die. That was longer. Thank you for... oh, my coffee is over. Oh my god. My cat. He's sweet. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But I swear, God, I love a lot of books, okay?